Joined by Maine, Joe Harasymiak and Najee Goode. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Coach, I want to start with you because what a finish to the end of the year last year for the Black Bears, winning 6 of your final 8 games in your first season as head coach. How can you build on that momentum heading into 2017?
Yeah, I think it gave us the confidence to know that we can compete in the league. You know, coming off a year where we were 3-8, I believe, that year before, new head coach, some new staff members, team that was coming off a bad year. I think it showed us that we can compete in the CAA, and obviously we got in a good streak there. Now we just need to, break out in some of those other games, some fourth quarter games that we want back. But overall, going 5-3 in the league is a good year.
The team certainly got better as the year progressed. Did you find yourself learning things and getting better as a head coach, being in your first year as a head coach last year? I mean, as the season goes on.
Yeah, you learn a lot,
yeah.
And we'll try and do a lot of things better. But I think just overall, just how we execute in the fourth quarter, and we talked about that all off season, and really playing well, especially in games in November, is going to be key this year. And hopefully we can get off to a good start, and hopefully we'll be around at the end of the season.
And Coach, we actually have a Facebook Live question for you right off the bat from Nasir Yard. In your second season as a head coach, what things do you want to improve the most, and what things did you do well that you want to continue to improve on in year 2?
I think one thing that Maine's always been known for is their toughness, and I think our kids will bring that to the table every game. I think the thing that we just need to improve on is just executing the fourth quarter a little bit. We got into a lot of those games and pulled a lot of them out, but there's some that are still kind of sitting in our brains a little bit about last year. So if we can pull those out and do a better job with that, I think we'll be right there at the end of the year.
Of course, here with Najee Goode. Najee, looking at the defense coming into the season, what are some of the expectations you're looking for out of the Black Hole defense?
One thing we pride ourselves on is swarming to the ball and just playing physical all day. It's playing with a lot of energy, so that's what we pride ourselves off from the jump, and just we want to carry that on to all the younger guys, just knowing that that's what it's going to take to be victorious in this league.
Speaking of the younger guys, talk about some of these guys that are going to have to step into some key roles. You guys, in particular, Patrick Ricard, you guys lost in graduation.
I mean, it's impossible to replace Patrick Ricard, but we have younger guys who's going to have to step up, and they bring something else to the table. Some of them are fast, some of them are strong, some of them they just got to figure out what's their strength and what's their weaknesses and apply it to the defense.
Now, Najee Goode, to your left, you brought him down with you to Media Day. A long journey down here to Baltimore from Maine, so we appreciate that. That's for sure.
No problem. The boys from Orono will always show up.
Right. Absolutely. Now, what makes him such a special player for your team?
Yeah, me and Najee have a pretty special relationship. He was a corner when he first started, obviously, and I was the defensive backs coach, and then the defensive coordinator, and now ultimately the head coach. But our relationship goes a long way. We've had a lot of growing pains along the way, but he's a great kid. He's got a great family, and he's the leader of this defense this year, and I think the kids really know that. And whenever we have someone like that to lead us, I think it's going to be a good thing for us.
Now, you mentioned you miss out on Pat Ricard, but I think broadcasters are mostly going to miss out on Christoph Malumba Chimanga. That was always a fun one to say. We talked defense. Let's talk a little bit about the offense. Yep. You got your running back, wide receiver returning, but you have to replace Dan Collins at the quarterback position. Who are the front runners to run your offense?
Yeah, I think it all starts with the quarterback, obviously, when you talk about a team, and especially offensively. So we have Drew Belcher, who started a couple games in his career at Maine and won games in the CAA, and then him and Danny battled it out last year, and we named Danny the starter. And then obviously we signed a graduate transfer, Max Staver, who came in January, so he's been through spring ball, and he'll go obviously into camp with Drew with battling out. We also have Chris Ferguson, who's a redshirt freshman, who's in the mix, and we just signed a kid out of Baltimore, actually, St. Francis Academy, Isaiah Robinson. So we have 4 on the roster. We'll probably stick to the same schedule as last year. We'll name a starter probably somewhere in the middle of August, give enough time for the team and the offense especially to gel around that, just so we know who it is. But it'll be a battle going into camp, and we'll go through a couple scrimmages before that.
Speaking of schedules, Coach, looking at your schedule this year, I mean, there's some fun games on here. I mean, really, some great storylines. It all starts with the opener at New Hampshire, a game that you usually play at the last game of the year. What is that like? And I'll talk to you about that as well. Getting to play New Hampshire the first game.
Yeah, this is my first experience with it. We've played them the last game every year. I think one year we might have played them in the middle, but we have so much respect for that program, what Coach Mack has done. That's one thing I definitely learned from Coach Kaz as well, just to respect all the CAA, but especially New Hampshire. So it'll be great. I think it's great for New England football, obviously. It'll be a great Thursday night kickoff, and we're just excited about getting a chance to get them back right away. They're the last game of the year we lost on a field goal with I think like 10 or 20 seconds left.
Yep.
And just getting that back, it's a rivalry game, and to kick off the year, I know our kids are really excited about it.
And speaking of rivalry games, Najee, you play also UMass this year in Fenway Park. You guys are at Central Florida as well. I mean, some really intriguing road games, really, that you could probably take forever with you. But talk about some of these games that are on your schedule. I know it's one game at a time, but it's hard to not look down the list at some of these teams are playing this year.
Yeah, that's very cliche saying one game at a time. It's true though, but it's very exciting just to look ahead and just see what opportunities you have to play on certain stages. And coming from this league, that's what it'll do for you. So.
Full disclosure, I'm a big Boston Red Sox fan, so when I saw that you were being able to play at Fenway Park, I thought that was one of the coolest things that I've ever seen all day. When I woke up, I was like, can't wait to talk to Maine and get this in. How did that game come about?
I think obviously us finding out, I found out from our athletic director, but we played them at Gillette actually last time we played them, the year after they left the league. And I think they've been doing a lot of games there. I think BC Notre Dame is most recent. I think they're doing 3 this year. So when we found out, obviously we were ecstatic. And not only for the kids in the program, but just our alumni fan base in Boston too. We have a lot of alumni in Boston. A lot of people are excited about it. We went there for Media Day. And just to see, look out there and know that there's going to be a football field in there and just playing in that historic venue will be great.
Hey, it's going to be really exciting. Last year, 5 wins in the CAA, not an easy task. Can you speak to how difficult it is to play in this tough of a conference week in and week out?
Yeah, like I said, when I first entered the league in 2011 as an assistant, it's the one thing I always heard is how tough it was. And you never really appreciate it until you're in the games. And literally every year we're in games. And the years we do well, obviously we compete in the fourth quarter and come out with wins. But I think it's just every team is so stacked with talent, great coaches. And it's just every game is going to come down to that fourth quarter. I love what Nick Boyle said, 58 minutes plus 2. That's really what it is. It's going to come down to the last drive or 2, and hopefully we can pull it out this year.
Well, it all starts against New Hampshire on the first game of the year, conference play, and a rivalry game to start things off. Thank you guys so much for being with us. So we're